The mystery of the flashing red lights at the White House has been solved. TV cameras regularly positioned on the White House caught red strobe lights around 8:30 p.m. Sunday, leading to a burst of speculation on social media about their origin. The pulsing lights seemed to be emanating from two windows on the second floor of the residence. President Trump was home at the White House following his 9-day foreign trip. Theories on social media ranged from a disco dance party to a back-channel code to the Russians. But a spokesperson for the Secret Service solved the mystery Monday and confirmed the lights were a reflection from emergency vehicles responding to a medical incident outside the White House campus. The red lights had nothing to do with the White House, a Secret Service spokesperson told. A spokesman for DC Fire and EMS confirmed the medical emergency that brought a fire truck and ambulance to nearby Lafayette Park at that time. A man fell ill on a park bench across the street from the White House at 8:09 p.m. Sunday. Emergency responders were on scene from 8:12 to 8:47 p.m., according to Communications Chief Doug Buchanan. The man was treated at the scene and declined transport to a hospital. A security source said the windows of the White House are likely thicker than a normal structure, which would cause a great reflection or refraction of light.
прав людини. Згідно закону про уповноваженого, протягом наступних 20 днів відбувалося висунення кандидатів. Не пізніше 6 червня має відбутися голосування Ради за нового омбудсмена. Профільний комітет виніс на голосування Людмилу Денисову від Народного фронту, Сергія Алексєєва від БПП і правозахисника Андрія Мамалигу. Якщо Верховна Рада не зможе обрати омбудсмена або...
Пару слов скажу, чтобы было понятно, что такое омбудсмен. Во всех цивилизованных странах это такая должность, которая, как правило, это человек от парламента. У нас же парламентско-президентская по Конституции, сейчас республика. У нас вообще-то парламент должен быть основным контролером жизни и власти. Жизни и власти, жизни людей. Все видоизменилось, но должно быть так. Так вот, омбудсмен следит за тем, как в стране в целом и в частности по отношению к конкретным людям соблюдаются их неотъемлемые права на жизнь, на свободу, свобода совести, религиозные исповедания и те или иные там, кому что нравится, языки. Вот это все должен делать омбудсмен. У нас он это делает. Ну, как в анекдоте, какая страна, такой и тиран. Какая страна?
Everyone says in this country, in both parties, that we need, let alone a fix for Obamacare, until you get through these other things. And those things require Democrat-ship. And so far, we haven't seen any work with the Democrats this year, save for that government funding bill that they got passed out in the beginning of May, on which the president backed off a bunch of priorities. He said he was going to have to get, a dollar. He was going to get rid of the Obamacare cost-sharing subsidies. He wanted money for the wall, all of which he backed off of, and Democrats ended up voting for. So this non-controversial funding bill. Other than that, there's been no outreach to the Democrats, and Republicans have all told me again and again they cannot raise the debt ceiling without them. And they cannot break, as I said, these limitations, these spending limitations, the sequester caps from 2011, which will allow them to write a budget for 2018, which will provide them that.
Republicans all say we have to have they have zero legislative accomplishments under this president. Not one thing has made its way through yet. They want to change that in a big way. Who is a leader who might be able to step forward and say, look, everybody, if you don't want to all go down in flames in the midterm elections in 2018, we got to get something done. Who's that leader who might bring them together?
Well, it's not going to be probably the leaders that you're thinking of, which is Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and House Speaker Paul Ryan. They are working behind the scenes trying to they know that no matter what is going on in the White House with travel ban tweets or Russia probes or any kind of communication meltdown, they have to find something to run on next year. So they are quietly working on trying to get to consensus. But as I said, these are really divisions within the Republican Party that they're not healing and sort of overcoming by reaching out to get Democratic votes on board. That's what they have to do. They're running out of time. You look at Republicans in the Senate, they want a Medicaid expansion. There's a huge division. That's why they can't pass a health care bill, because too many senators like Senator Collins of Maine and Senator Portman of Ohio are saying their constituents need a Medicaid expansion. These are huge cleavages within the Republican Party. So they can keep fighting, in private in these back rooms about how to come to consensus, or when they run out of time, they're probably going to have to work with Democrats.
Davy Stoddard, good to talk to you again. Thanks.
Thanks, Shep.
After years of accusations, the case against Bill Cosby goes to trial today. The actor got a big show of support from one of his Cosby Show co-stars. We'll take you there next.
Would you like to own an asset that has the potential for a 60% increase or more? Well, that investment is silver, and you can buy it at today's low price. If silver just returns to half of its all-time high, it would be a 60% increase. And if silver returns to its recent all-time high, it would be a 200% increase. Compare this silver investment to owning volatile stocks and low-yield bonds. Don't miss your chance to own silver before it rises in price. Call Lear Capital to receive the complete guide to silver investing free. The guide shows why experts say silver is undervalued, why silver could rise 60% or more, and how silver can help protect your IRA if another crisis strikes. Get your free silver guide and precious metals IRA investor kit so you can help protect and grow your portfolio in 2017. Call 1-800-889-8000. 1-800-889-8000. Call now.
At Men's Warehouse, get your designer looks from our exclusive collections. Now's the time with designer suits just $279. Plus, buy one, get one free for more great styles. Men's Warehouse.
I did it. I joined eHarmony. Yeah, I can get my own dates.
How's that going?
Sign me up.
Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
What the road demands, the GS delivers. Experience high performance through high technology in the Lexus GS 350 and GS Turbo. Experience amazing.
No matter what your style, if you're modern, you're classic, we have so many pieces for our stylists to choose from. Stitch Fix is an online personal styling service for every body type. Our stylists get to know what you like and send you incredible pieces that you love.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need cash? You need to know about the New Day 100 Home Loan for Veterans. It lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, not just 80%. And that can mean a lot more money for you and your family. With our military service, veterans like us have earned a valuable VA benefit, the right to apply for a VA home loan. The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, put cash in the bank, and lower your payments an average of $640 a month. And New Day will even pay your appraisal fee. That could save you up to $500 or more. So call New Day USA. They look at your whole financial picture, not just your credit score. And they'll do everything they possibly can to get you approved. Call them today.
Refinance for up to 100% of your home's value. Go to NewDayUSA.com or call New Day USA now at 1-855-429-4866.
This morning, a gunman in Orlando shot and killed 5 people at the company where he used to work. He was fired back in April. That's according to the sheriff in Orange County, where Orlando is. He said the suspect was an Army veteran. A former co-worker had accused him of assault in the past. The sheriff says the man came into the building, pointed a gun at one woman, told her to leave before he shot the victims. Another woman told the Associated Press her sister called her from inside the building as the shooting was happening, and she kept saying over and over, "My boss is dead, my boss is dead." Steve Harrigan with the story of this morning workplace shooting. What else do we know about the shooter here?
Shepard, the shooter is John Newman, 45 years old. He lived alone, no family. He had worked in this manufacturer of awnings for recreational vehicles for a number of years before being fired. According to security camera footage, he entered a back door of this warehouse at 8 a.m. He was armed with a handgun. He appeared to target specific individuals who worked in that warehouse. He made several headshots, killing 4 people very quickly within minutes, sometimes firing multiple shots, made identification of some of the victims very difficult. He stopped to reload. He also carried a large hunting knife, which he did not use. And right now, officials are saying there are no known ties to any terrorist organization, Shepard.
This comes just ahead of what marks a year since the Pulse nightclub shooting there in Orlando.
That's right, Shepard. Florida's governor is saying this has been a challenging year for Orlando. Next week marks the 1-year anniversary of that Pulse shooting. 49 people killed by a gunman who claimed allegiance to to the Islamic State, the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. So certainly a city on edge, and some things may have changed during the course of that year. Keep in mind, during that hostage situation, it took 3 hours for police to finally make a breach and bring down the gunman. Today's operation, again, an active shooter operation, police were on scene and entered within 2 minutes of that 911 call. Their quick response may have led to the fact that 8 survivors, 8 co-workers survived this attack. The gunman shot himself when police entered the scene, Shepard.
Steve Harrigan in South Florida, thank you. Bill Cosby getting some support from his TV family on the first day of his sexual assault trial. The comedian, one-time America's Dad, showed up to court alongside the actress who played his daughter Rudy Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Today, the prosecutor and Cosby's defense attorney gave opening statements. In this court, Cosby is accused of drugging and sexually assaulting a woman who worked for Temple University, his alma mater, more than a decade ago. Today, the prosecutor said there is no dispute that Bill Cosby gave her a pill. The question is whether she had the ability to consent at the time. A defense attorney said Cosby gave her Benadryl after she complained she couldn't sleep. Dozens of women have made sexual assault accusations against Bill Cosby. This case pertains to just one of them. Privatizing air traffic control. Is that right for America? The president says he can cut down on flight delays. Critics say passengers would pay the price. This new proposal coming up.
You could spend the next few days weeding through W-2s, pay stubs, and bank statements to refinance your home. Or you could push that button. Skip the bank, skip the paperwork, and go completely online. Securely share your financial info and confidently get an accurate mortgage solution in minutes. Lift the burden of getting a home loan with Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.
This is a ClassAction.com consumer alert. Studies have linked Risperdal and Invega to gynecomastia, a condition that causes boys to develop breasts. The physical pain and emotional trauma can be devastating. Those who suffer from this side effect may be able to claim compensation. Contact ClassAction.com to learn how we can help you. ClassAction.com. Information, protection, justice.
Gearing up for a wild week in Washington. From the White House tax cut push to the testimonies rocking Capitol Hill, Neil Cavuto breaks down everything you need to know tonight on Your World.
When you're busy building the future, it's not often you have your eyes on the ground. But there it is, right below our feet. An ever-expanding state-of-the-art fiber-rich network designed to connect you to what matters most today and tomorrow. Which is why we're never done building for the future. That's who we are. Spectrum.
If you have Medicare Parts A and B and want more coverage, guess what? You could apply for a Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan whenever you want. No enrollment window, no waiting to apply. That means now may be a great time to shop for an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Medicare doesn't cover everything, and like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, these help cover some of what Medicare doesn't pay. So don't wait. Call now to request your free decision guide. It could help you find the AARP Medicare supplement plan that works for you. These types of plans have no networks, so you get to choose any doctor who accepts Medicare patients. Rates are competitive, and they're the only plans of their kind endorsed by AARP. Remember, these plans let you apply all year round. So call today, because now's the perfect time to learn more. Go long.
Do you owe money to the IRS?
I had over $18,000 in tax debt. You can't imagine what it's like to be that deep in debt. The sleepless nights, the anxiety, and I didn't know what to do.
Then Chris called Optima Tax Relief.
And once Optima took over, I got my life back. The stress was just lifted. It was gone. All I can say is don't wait. Call Optima Tax now.
For your free consultation, call 1-800-606-1097. 1-800-606-1097.
President Trump says the nation's air traffic control system is out of date and expensive, and on those matters, he's right. He says it's costing the economy billions of dollars a year in delays. This morning at the White House, he rolled out a plan to privatize the work of air traffic controllers.
It will reduce cost and increase convenience for every American consumer. And these new efficiencies will produce a huge economic boost for the country and for the 1 in 14 American jobs that aviation supports.
U.S. airlines have supported privatization for years. Critics are questioning what it would mean for passengers and for safety. Let's turn to Ted Mann. He's a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. The airlines are for this because they would have more control over all of this. But what about for the passenger? The FAA doesn't, air traffic controllers can't change the weather. So on that matter, it's not like they can change delays. And that's mainly what air traffic controllers deal with, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the president is talking about two things here. One is the move to privatize and to bring this function outside the government and into a new nonprofit entity. And then he's also talking about next-gen air traffic control, which is a system that has been under development for many years. The development is going slowly according to everyone involved, but it is something that the federal government has been working on. What the administration is saying is that if you moved air traffic control outside of the FAA, if you funded it not through taxes as it's funded now, but through user fees paid for by airlines and by the flying public, that would provide stability that would enable them to more quickly roll out this new system of GPS-based air traffic control that in theory will improve delays and increase the efficiency of air travel.
In whose theory, though? There seems not to be a consensus on this matter. And if you look at other countries, some have done this, and from what I've read, I don't see evidence that it's made things cheaper or more efficient.
Well, and that's the thing. They're talking about two ideas at the same time today. The argument that you could have this safety function of air traffic control housed in an entity that is not part of the government but is regulated by the government is they are the backers of this. And Congress point to Europe, they point to Canada, and places where this is working as a matter of safety. The longer term goal, and the one the president spent a lot of time talking about today, is on next gen and on a smoother operating air traffic control system that would save time and money. And that's something that the existing government agencies have been trying to build for a long time, and they've been trying to get airlines to help improve their equipment so that they could work on a system like that. But that's a bit of a longer term, a reach goal. They're just saying we could get there easier if you took them up on privatizing this function of the government.
We know the airlines are for this. We know others have signed on. What from your reporting is the indication of the chances of getting this proposal pushed through a legislative body?
I mean, I think the backers of this in Congress feel a lot better now that they have a president who's pushing for it. This is a proposal that's been around for a couple of years, but this is a big shove that was not happening in the past administration. They also have the Secretary of Defense saying that they could find a way to work with this too.
Hey, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much. Ted Mann from the Wall Street Journal. And we'll be right back with a final note before top of the hour headlines. That's next.
I was always the girl with psoriasis. People don't stare anymore.
I never joined in. It wasn't fair to any of us.
I was covered. I tried lots of things over the years.
But I didn't give up.
I kept on fighting.
I found something that worked.
That still works.
Now,
see me. See me.
I found clear skin that lasts.
See if Cosentix could make a difference for you. Cosentix is proven to help people with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis find clear skin that can last. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting Cosentix, you should be checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you've received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
see me to know.
Clear skin can last.
Don't hold back. Ask your dermatologist if Cosentix can help you find clear skin that lasts.
I have a great job, great friends, and I'm trying to find that one missing piece.
Hey, Chief, what do you got going on tonight?
I got a date, actually. How are you?
Join the thousands getting back out there on the fastest growing dating site for people over 50. Start for free today at OurTime.com.
It's our Joseph A. Bank one-day sale. Save up to 70% on almost everything. Just $199 for signature premium wool suits and $39 for all dress shirts, sport shirts, polos, and shorts. Plus save an extra 40% on all clearance. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
Hi, I'm Joan London. Today's senior living communities have never been better. With amazing amenities like movie theaters, exercise rooms and swimming pools, public cafes, bars and bistros, even pet care services. And there's never been an easier way to get great advice. A Place for Mom is a free service that pairs you with a local advisor to help you sort through your options and find the perfect place. A Place for Mom. You know your family. We know senior living. Together we'll make the right choice.
If you're the spouse of a military veteran, I want you to know something. Your spouse has earned the right to apply for a VA home loan. A VA home loan is unique. It's different than other loans because it allows you to borrow up to 100% of the home's value. That extra borrowing power may allow you to pay down debt, lower your monthly payments, put cash in the bank, and give you the peace of mind that every veteran deserves.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-855-676-4735. It's a new day for veterans who want to lower their monthly payment.
That's me.
The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, get cash, and lower your payments an average of $640 a month. New Day will even pay for your appraisal.
That's me.
As a vet, you've earned the right to apply for a home loan that's VA guaranteed. For veterans who want to refinance, that can mean a lot.
That's me.
Call New Day USA now, 1-855-676-4735.
On this day in 1661, Isaac Newton enrolled as a student at Cambridge University in England. Newton is probably most famous for his work on physics and his laws of motion. As the story goes, he discovered gravity after he saw an apple fall from a tree. Isaac Newton explained how planets move through space and gravity's role in the moon's orbit. He also wrote about history and religion, but the father of modern physics got ready for his first day of school 356 years ago today. Should news break out, we'll break in because breaking news changes everything on Fox News Channel. Your World with Cavuto starts now.
All right, stop me if you have seen this before. We are live in some major cities across the country and how they are preparing, girding themselves for anything approaching what happened and went down this past weekend in London, in New York City, on the Capitol, in Los Angeles, at the airport there, and in Dallas. Again and again and again, fears after something happens there, making sure it doesn't happen here. But we already have some developments on what happened in London. Police have named the two suspects and now have a better idea of what they were doing hours, days, sometimes weeks before the attack. Fox News Channel's Mike Tobin with the latest in London. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Neil, and as night falls on a rainy London town, police have released two of the identities of two of the three attackers. The first of them, Rashid Redwan, is a bit of a mystery. He's believed to be 30 years old. Police can't even pin down his country of origin. It's a different case with 27-year-old Karam Butt. He has been known to police as well as MI5 since 2015, primarily because he spouted off quite a bit about radical Islamic ideology. Of course, investigators lacked intelligence that a crude attack was imminent. Now, the commander of Scotland Yard is pleading with the Muslim community in particular for information.
Some people, even at the closest point to them, must have known something. And we're saying they had a duty. The Muslim community saying they had that duty to report it.
Now, additional raids were conducted in a borough called Barking this morning. This follows a flurry of raids over the weekend in a couple of boroughs just outside of London. Police are confident that they killed the three attackers, but believe there may be a larger network of people who may have been sympathizers, aides, or may have known that an attack was coming. We know in one of the raids they picked up 12 people and released one. So with the information we have thus far, at least 11 people have been held by police. Neil?
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Mike Tobin in London. Well, authorities had at least, as Mike said, one of the suspects on their radar, and maybe for a while. So how did he slip through yet again? This keeps happening. Former FBI Assistant Director Ron Hosko. Ron, whenever this happens, and you and I have gotten into it in a Western democracy, we don't hold people ad nauseum for no reason. But there were reasons to at least question and detain for a while, and even that didn't happen. Why not?
Yeah, that's a great concern here, Neil. The notion, and I think the police there are getting what seems like a lot of credit for arriving within 8 minutes and resolving this. When this at the end of this scene, the problem is, to your point, they should have been there 9 minutes before, or within 9 minutes. That way, they could have interdicted it. And the troubling part here is these folks who are slipping through law enforcement's fingers for one reason or another, and here in a free and open democracy like we have, very often words are not enough. Even if it's hate words, are not enough to charge you with a crime, and certainly not enough to charge a neighbor or a family member who says, "Hey, Ron is crazy. I'm troubled by what he says." It's very difficult to charge that person with some form of a crime, conspiring or aiding and abetting.
But aiding and abetting does seem to be the role that the British Prime Minister thinks Facebook, Google, and some of these others might have played. Now, Facebook came out with a statement that it wants to be hostile to terrorists, but the rap against Facebook and some of the others in this free speech environment, that's the last thing they want to be, hostile to their users. That might just include terrorists. What do you think of their kind of pickle?
Well, it is a pickle, and one that I think until the financial dynamic changes, until the rhetoric changes, Apple, Google, and others are looking to make money. And so they will tell us that they're doing their best or they're enhancing their measures to ferret this out, to shut it off, perhaps to hand it over to law enforcement. But until we see, and in my mind, a big attack, particularly domestically, and lots more killed and injured, until the public narrative is very, very critical of these IT companies for how they're doing business, they will continue to do business the same way.
You know, I want to review is some of the options we're told, at least reading the British press, that Theresa May might be considering down the road to prevent this sort of thing, because she's, had enough is enough. You heard the lines. They might ban burqas. They might strip citizenship for those who are repeatedly fingered by police for questionable behavior. They might hold people longer, detain them longer in that event, and keep the threat remaining for the society at least severe, where it is now, one notch below the most extreme. What do you think of that? Would that really change any of the dynamics here?
I think to a very, very small extent. What we need here and there is effective law enforcement penetration of these threat actors, of these groups, some of whom are living in enclaves in discrete communities that have no intention of integrating. In fact, what they want is the opposite. What they want is Sharia law in Great Britain or in France or in Belgium. And identifying these actors. Before I came over today, I read this, there's some Pew Research polls out there, and of Muslims that were polled in the United States in 2011 about the use of high explosives and suicide bombings and violent attacks against civilians, 8% of them said that is sometimes or often justified. So where are those 8%? How do I, as the FBI, as MI5, as New Scotland Yard, get into those communities, understand who are the real bad actors and who are affiliates and who are supporters? We need that thorough penetration. And frankly, I just don't think, certainly in Europe, they don't have the numbers to do it effectively.
Ron Hosko, former FBI Assistant Director, good seeing you again, even under these circumstances, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, President Trump will not, after all, assert any executive privilege. Former FBI Director James Comey, that is set to go ahead and testify on Thursday. Everyone is watching this. Thursday is a big news day, by the way. Sarah Westwood, Washington Examiner, White House correspondent. Now, there was some consideration, Sarah, that maybe given the fact that the president and he were alone, mano a mano, talking about this stuff, that the president himself could exert privilege here because it was a private conversation. Now we know that Comey will be allowed to share his own memories of that conversation. He's written notes. Do those notes advance the cause? Because Comey's saying one thing, the president is saying another.
Well, the notes is the closest thing we have, it seems, to hard evidence that these conversations did in fact take place, and that they take place as they've been reported, which is that in a private conversation in the Oval Office back in February, President Trump may have made some inappropriate comments about the FBI investigation into General Flynn and might have asked the FBI director to pull back on that investigation. And the only thing that we have that resembles hard evidence are these memos that were taken contemporaneously that were taken at the time of those conversations.
But I'm not a lawyer, but it would be one person's word against another, right? I mean, they would need some proof. Now, the presidency intimated that, there might be taped conversations. That appears not to be the case, or maybe it is, and he's not doing anything. But where's this going to go? Let's assume that Comey's going to say what has been reported, and the president's going to reinforce what he has said, which has been reported, didn't happen, or at least the overt sort of a push to drop an investigation. Then what? Where is this going?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, and that's the kind of situation I think the White House wants to avoid. They don't want to get into a he said situation
with
FBI Director Comey. And it is. I mean, that's what it'll boil down to. It's really the only effective response that the White House can have to this if they want to push back is to try to discredit Comey's version of events. They've had a week to prepare for this testimony, or at least they will have by the time Thursday rolls around. So you might think that they would line up allies who could back up the president's version of events, that they could sort of put together the traditional defenses that you would see from a White House in this kind of controversy, but that we haven't seen when they've been hit with past leaks because they've been sort of blindsided and they haven't had time to put together defenses.
But I don't know what they could put together, right? So because it's only the president presumably in the room, unless they wanted to advance this, and even in a worst case scenario, it would not be damning. It would be the president arguing on behalf of someone he thought was getting a rough treatment. That's the most optimistic spin that they could put on it, isn't it, or no?
Well, you've already seen the White House sort of trying to discredit Comey. They're pointing to Comey's past testimony before Congress in which he said that he did not feel any pressure from the Justice Department, from administration officials, when it came to the investigation into Russian collusion. So I think that they'll hope Comey is confronted with his past testimony, is confronted with the testimony of Andrew McCabe, the acting FBI director, who also testified before Congress that there's been no interference to date in the Russian investigation. And they're highlighting the fact that he's made mistakes when testifying under oath before. Recall that he testified incorrectly about the number of classified emails on Huma Abedin's laptop. So they're sort of trying to make the argument that Comey has been wrong in the past, and maybe the public shouldn't take his words at face value in this situation as well.
All right, Sarah Westwood, thank you. Washington Examiner, White House correspondent. All right, so as Sarah intimated there, Thursday is going to be like a pay-per-view news day. Just think about it. Early on in the day, the former FBI director testifying to Congress. Later on that night, crucial elections going on in Britain that could decide the future of that government, even if the prime minister who called these elections about 6 weeks ago when she was 20 points up in the polls and is now dead even. All that happening, which is why we are live on FBN that evening, Fox Business Network, beginning with Lou Dobbs from 7 to 9 p.m. And then when the results kind of roll in for the United Kingdom, we are live as well. Now, I know there'll be other networks and reruns and talking about popular skillets you can get that are either orange or green based. But the fact of the matter is this is about you, your money, your future, and by the way, democracy maybe itself, both here and abroad. We're on it. We're live. No matter how long it takes. I'm told that this could drag on until 2 or 3 in the morning. When they told me that, I said, and I'm on that portion. Anyway, okay with it. Meanwhile, Senator Ted Cruz on, even if it goes to the extreme, even if it proves collusion, this whole Russian thing, this whole connection with the Trump White House, even if it goes that far, how far does that go for the president? Ted Cruz coming up.
The Closing Bell is brought to you by TD Ameritrade.
Child arrived just the other day. Came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch, bills to pay. So I moved my meat and saw him walk that day. He was talking for I knew it, and as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. No, I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Falling down stairs can be disastrous. Acorn Stairlifts has a solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. That's right. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stair Lifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Now you can safely ride with your Acorn Stair Lift.
Now I don't have to worry about him climbing those stairs again.
And our Acorn Stairlift was very affordable. Our Acorn Stairlift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn Stairlift has a padded seat and backrest for maximum comfort. It easily folds up for access to the stairway. 5 safety sensors stop your Acorn Stairlift if there's something in the way. And it even runs during power outages.
I'm the king of my own castle again.
You'll be working directly with the world's leader in stair lifts. That's right, there's no middleman. Acorn's trained technicians professionally install your stair lift directly to the staircase, most cases in 2 hours or less. No need for special construction. We don't leave until you're completely comfortable using your Acorn stair lift.
Don't risk a serious fall down the stairs.
I was really surprised how little they cost.
Call for your free no-obligation information kit and quote from Acorn Stair Lifts. Just don't fall. Safely ride up and down your steps.
Give your life a lift with an Acorn Stairlift.
Call 1-800-927-9011 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That number again is 1-800-927-9011. 1-800-927-9011. Call now.
Call now.
Oh, I'm not a security guard. I'm a security monitor. I only notify people if there's a robbery. There's a robbery.
Why monitor a problem if you don't fix it? That's why free credit monitoring isn't enough to protect you from identity theft. At LifeLock, we not only alert you to identity threats. If you have a problem, we'll spend up to $1 million on lawyers and experts who will work to fix it. LifeLock. Join starting at $9.99 a month.
By now, you're very familiar with the horror in Britain. It's a third tragedy in as many months. And normally, when you have incidents like what's been going on over there, much like when we have incidents like that going on over here, or any country where terror rears its ugly head, there's a sort of a rally around the leader, a rally around the flag, a rally around the party, for example, in power. Not so in Britain this go-round, where the prime minister is in the fight of her life, not only to keep her party in power, but maybe her own job. That is very unusual to Fox Business Network's Ashley Webster in London with the very latest. I don't think I've ever seen that, certainly lately. What do you make of it, Ashley?
No, I think that speaks to the general feel of this country right now, Neil. 3 attacks in about 10 weeks, 34 people killed, 216 people injured, and we find out that under the leadership of Theresa May, when she was Home Secretary, she actually cut the police force by 20,000 officers. That, of course, bearing in mind what happened just this last Saturday night, has not sat well with people, especially when she made that announcement of enough is enough. There are those that are saying, wait a minute, 2 of the individuals involved in these attacks were very well known to intelligence services, both MI5 and counterterrorism agencies, and were even reported by concerned neighbors to terror hotlines, but yet nothing was done. And I think that has proven to be perhaps created that atmosphere you're talking about, Neil. People are upset. They're saying, what are you doing? We know these people are here. Why can't we stop these things from happening before they do? The problem, though, these are very low-tech attacks. All they have is a car and then a machete or a knife, and they can wreak absolute havoc. Look what happened in just 8 minutes last Saturday night. 7 dead, 48 injured, 18 of those still in very critical condition. So there is a sense that the government is talking a lot, but really not doing a lot, Neil.
And they're obviously taking it out on Theresa May. Now, that could change, but is there a possibility? Forget about not getting a majority, not winning outright, just losing the whole thing.
That's a good question. Listen, how much do you trust the polls? I was here covering Brexit. Of course, there's Donald Trump. I don't have a lot of faith in the polls, but I think there's definitely, as you said, there was a 20-point advantage for Theresa May. Now, one poll suggesting it's down to just 1 point. We'll wait and see on the day. I still think she will win. She's not going to have the supermajority she was hoping she was going to get. And worst case scenario is a hung parliament where there's no party that has a majority. And that will prove difficult as this country moves forward with its negotiations over Brexit.
All right, Ashley, thank you very much. Great reporting. You've been a busy guy and not a single
My
hour
pleasure.
off through all of this.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated. In the meantime, President Trump was relating these attacks over the weekend to say, that's why we need a travel ban here. And everyone jumped ugly with him. Everyone, that is, except a certain senator named Ted Cruz. Remember when those guys weren't talking to each other? They're doing a lot more than talking to each other. Cruz, next.
If you have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis like me, and you're talking to your rheumatologist about a medication, this is Humira. This is Humira helping to relieve my pain and protect my joints from further damage. Humira has been clinically studied for over 18 years. Humira works by targeting and helping to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms. It's proven to help relieve pain and stop further joint damage in many adults.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB. Hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Talk to your doctor and visit Humira.com. This is Humira at work.
I'm Laura, and I lost 30 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Want to lose weight, but no time? Too busy? Tired of fads and gimmicks? I've got one word for you. Nutrisystem.
I'm Vanessa, and I lost 50 pounds with Nutrisystem.
I'm Ashley, and I've lost 135 pounds.
Lose weight fast with Nutrisystem's new Lean 13.
I'm Erin, and I lost 30 pounds on Nutrisystem. I have so much more energy. Bye-bye belly fat. I'm healthy and in the best shape of my life. I lost 48 pounds.
You can lose weight too. Take control. Pick up the phone and get with the program today. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast. Money back guaranteed.
The food is amazing. They give you chocolate and pizza and shakes. I didn't have to think about it. It's simple.
Take the first step and order Nutrisystem right now. You'll get 1 week of all new NutriCrush bars free and 1 week of Turbo Shakes free.
So what are you waiting for?
Do it now. Don't wait.
Make the call.
Go online or call 877-829-SIZE right now to get new Lean 13 with bars and shakes free.
Inside the climate decision, Scott Pruitt helped Trump make the major move. Now, the head of the EPA tells Martha White was the right decision for America. Tonight on The Story.
Really? Just a regular guy. Kidding. I'm spectacular.
Actor John Stamos is spectacular, and so is Spectrum. But you already know how spectacular Spectrum TV is. Now see just how amazing Spectrum can be when you add internet and voice.
Voiceover. Perk of being me. Another perk, when I'm done watching my shows, Spectrum Internet makes it easy to stay connected to social me, viral me, and streaming me.
Get 60 megabits Spectrum Internet with no data caps and a free modem. Add it now for just $29.99 a month.
Spectrum Voice makes it easy for me to catch up with all my fans all over the world.
Enjoy unlimited nationwide calling and unlimited calling to Canada, Mexico, and more.
Oh, look, there's one now. This is John Stamos. Oh, hi, Grammy. I'm shooting the commercial now.
Add Spectrum Internet for just $29.99 a month and Spectrum Voice for just $19.99 a month with our 30-day money-back guarantee and no contract. Call 844-565-1999.
That's my voiceover guy. I don't know if he's...
All right, apparently the President of the United States can tweet and rib his own staff. This is the president on that travel ban of his. The Justice Department should have stayed with the original travel ban, not the watered-down, politically correct version they submitted to the Supreme Court. Well, earlier on Fox Business Network, which if you don't get, you should demand, because popular and big-name guests like, Ted Cruz do, he weighed in on that. Take a look.
These terror attacks highlight the need to do everything we can to defeat radical Islamic terrorism and to keep our country safe. All of us hope and pray we don't see similar terror attacks here at home. That threat is out there. ISIS and radical Islamic terrorists want to murder Americans here at home. And I commend the Trump administration for taking seriously that we shouldn't be letting in refugees to this country, that we can't vet to make sure they're not terrorists, that we need to be using all the law enforcement tools we can, consistent with the Constitution, to keep our country safe. And I think that's just a matter of common sense.
There were a number of critics of the president who said that he was seizing on a horrific tragedy to sell a plan that has a lot of legal holes in it. That is his Muslim ban, his travel ban. What did you think of that criticism?
Well, there are a lot of folks on the far left who are just angry, and they're furious about the election. They're not even mad at President Trump or Republicans. They're mad at the American people. They're mad at the voters for electing a Republican president, giving Republican majorities in both houses of Congress. And so they're going to attack whatever the president does. I've got to say, when it comes to keeping this country safe, I think people are frustrated by a government that is handcuffed, or at least in the prior administration, by political correctness. They want to see leaders that stop radical Islamic terrorists, stop them before they carry out their attacks. I'll note, in the prior Congress, I introduced legislation that would put in place a common sense 3-year moratorium on refugees coming from nations where Al-Qaeda or ISIS or other radical Islamic terrorists control large portions of territory. And the reason is simple. Our FBI has told us they can't vet those refugees to make sure they're not terrorists. This shouldn't be a partisan idea. It shouldn't be Republican or Democrat. Everyone should come together and say, listen, we have the first responsibility of the federal government is to protect this nation, keep this nation safe, and we need to be serious and use every tool we can to protect against active terror and ideally to prevent them before they occur rather than just dealing with the grief and suffering in the aftermath.
Part of the targeting has been on these social websites, Facebook and Google and Twitter, Senator. Theresa May, the Prime Minister in Britain, says they have to do more, have to police this kind of stuff. Facebook is on the wire saying it wants to be hostile to terrorists, but many critics of Facebook argue it has been anything but. What do you think?
Well, listen, I believe in free speech. Here in America, we protect free speech. But free speech doesn't mean that we have to put our heads in the sand and ignore threats. So let me give an example from my home state of Texas. We all remember the horrific terror attack that happened at Fort Hood, where Nidal Hasan murdered 14 innocent souls. Now, before that terror attack occurred, the federal government, the Obama administration, they knew that Nidal Hasan was in communication with Anwar al-Awlaki, a radical Islamic cleric. They knew that he had asked Anwar al-Awlaki about the permissibility of waging jihad against his fellow soldiers. And yet the Obama administration did nothing. And I can only surmise, I've asked repeatedly, I've never gotten a straight answer, but I can only surmise it was because of political correctness they wouldn't act. In my view, if we know a service member that's talking to a radical Islamic cleric and asking about can he try to murder his fellow service members, we ought to show up and stop that terror attack before Nidal Hasan or the next Nidal Hasan walks through murdering innocent souls. That's the kind of serious, level-headed, clear-eyed thinking that I think the American people expect of their government leaders.
So when you hear privacy advocates say that's a dangerous step to cross in the effort to go after a bad guy and who he's talking to, you're going after a lot of good guys and who they're talking to, you say what?
Well, privacy matters a great deal, but the First Amendment, our privacy protections protect Americans in the United States of America. They don't protect foreign terrorists overseas. Foreign terrorists overseas, we can use every tool we have to intercept their communications. And Neil, the thing that is maddening is with terror attack after terror attack after terror attack, whether Nidal Hasan at Fort Hood, whether the Zarnik brothers, the Boston Marathon bombers, whether it was the Orlando nightclub terrorist, the government has had the communications. It's intercepted the communications, and it knew about the threat before it occurred. But the administration was unwilling to act because of fears of political correctness. I chaired a hearing in the Senate on the willful blindness of the Obama administration, where the Department of Homeland Security had undergone a purge, and the White House used that term purge to alter or delete over 800 records to remove references to radical Islam or the Muslim Brotherhood. Listen, that doesn't make any sense to be ignoring the red flags we see. We can protect privacy of American citizens here at home. We do a good job of that. But at the same time, we've got to be clear-eyed about the threat we face abroad to prevent horrific attacks like the ones we've seen in the UK.
All right, a little later on, we're going to have a little bit more of that interview with Ted Cruz, including a guy, by the way, who has been rumored on a short list for the next Supreme Court position should it open up. So he's a pretty good crackerjack lawyer, a state solicitor general in Texas. His thoughts on even if it goes to collusion with President Trump, all the way to that the White House might have had such ties with the Russians and in fact colluded. Does that warrant impeachment? You might be surprised. In the meantime, Saudi Arabia and other Gulf nations severing ties with Qatar. And this, at the same time, we have 10,000 troops in that country. What's dividing them and what is infuriating them?
I would like to take a moment to address my fellow veterans, because I know there are so many of you who have served your country honorably, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, or 32 years like myself. One of the benefits that we as a country give you as a veteran is your eligibility for a VA loan. Not 80%, but 100% the value of your home, and that's what you can get at New Day USA.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-866-228-7496.
After a DVT blood clot, I sure had a lot on my mind. My 30-year marriage, my 3-month-old business. Plus, what if this happened again? I was given warfarin in the hospital, but wondered, was this the best treatment for me? So I made a point to talk to my doctor. He told me about Eliquis. Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots and reduces the risk of them happening again. Not only does Eliquis treat DVT and PE blood clots, Eliquis also had significantly less major bleeding than the standard treatment. Eliquis had both, and that turned around my thinking.
Don't stop Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. If you had a spinal injection while on Eliquis, call your doctor right away if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots, plus had less major bleeding. Both made Eliquis right for me. Ask your doctor if switching to Eliquis is right for you.
My name is Jim. I have a great job, great friends, and I'm trying to find that one missing piece.
Did you know that Our Time is the fastest growing dating site for people over 50? And to celebrate, we're offering 7 days free.
Hey, Chief, what do you got going on tonight? I got a date, actually. So I'm going to meet Pamela tonight. Definitely looking forward to our date, and I think she is too.
Go to ourtime.com/free and get 7 days free.
How are you?
Get ready to get back out there. Go to ourtime.com/free and get 7 days free today.
New bike? Yeah, because I got...
Allstate. If you total your new bike, they replace it with a brand new one.
So, kind of like your second husband.
Kinda. It's good to be in good hands.
I don't know if this is just sad or a testament to how we're getting used to this sort of thing. The markets here and abroad are barely budging on this latest terror news, either getting used to it or, as I say, getting hit financially.
Hi, I'm William Devane. You've heard me talk about how smart it is to buy silver. There's a growing demand for silver around the world. Right now, silver is very affordable to grow in value. Don't miss out. I buy my silver from Rosalind Capital. Buying silver has been an important way to accumulate wealth for thousands of years and a great way to start investing. There are silver coins, silver bars, and even full bags of silver. And Rosalind has them all. And with Rosalind, what you order is what you get. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no hassle. I like that, and so will you. So when it comes to buying gold or silver, call Rosalind Capital.
Call now and get a free gold kit, including coins only available from Rosalind Capital, a free silver kit, and a free IRA kit. Call 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900.
All right, cutting relations off with Qatar. It seems that
quickly because it is going to affect them, I think, fairly quickly financially.
All right. They obviously want the country to buckle and quit cozying up or saying nice things or even talking to Iran. How likely is that? And then what's the fallout from that?
Well, I mean, Qatar has a long road or a long history, of kind of being double-faced, two-faced.
Right.
You know, we've essentially watched 20 years of, you know, on the one hand, you know, that they have been a partner, at least because of our air base that's there. On the other hand, you know, they've overtly supported organizations like Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. And now they're kind of out, you know, their stated support for Iran. And like you mentioned, the phone call to Rouhani after the election, you know, I think that was kind of the final straw for Saudi Arabia and some of these other countries that says, look, you know, you cannot have it both ways. And
we
I
have a
think
lot
that
of
we've been
troops
trying
there,
to exert some
right?
pressure.
We have 10,000 troops there. We're kind of caught in the middle here, right?
Well, we do, and we have the Al Udeid Air Base, and that's where, you know, our air operations that are currently flying against, you know, Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan, and I think something to about 18 other countries. So I think that, you know, according to Secretary of Defense Mattis and Secretary of State Tillerson, that is not going to change. We do have those troops there, but look, I think at this point, this might be the pressure that the Qatari government needs, certainly at the individual and that royal family level, to really start thinking again about their support for these terror organizations. I mean, they've been financing some of the most dangerous organizations out there, but it's also Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is the state-sponsored television station, and that, you know, has essentially been supporting you know, the jihadist movement ever since it's been around.
Ben Collins, thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
All right. In the meantime, we told you about the big event on Thursday. James Comey testifying to Congress. Senator Ted Cruz taking this to the next extreme level. How far does it go? You might be surprised what his thoughts are on that. And you might be surprised by a read of a Wall Street legend who says that everyone just might want to step back from this after this.
When it comes to investing, looking from a fresh perspective can make all the difference. It can provide what we call an unlock, a realization that often reveals a better path forward. At Wells Fargo, it's our expertise in finding this kind of insight that has led us to become one of the largest investment and wealth management firms in the country. Discover how we can help find your unlock.
It's our Joseph A. Bank one-day sale. Save up to 70% on almost everything. Just $199 for signature premium wool suits and $39 for all dress shirts, sport shirts, polos, and shorts. Plus save an extra 40% on all clearance. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
I know what you're thinking. I thought what you thought. Some things are just too good to be true. Just like you, I thought that reverse mortgages had to have some kind of catch. Just a way for the banks to get your house, right? Well, then I did some homework, and I found out it's not any of that. It's not another way for the bank to get your house, and it's also not too good to be true. A reverse mortgage loan is a simple idea. You turn your home's equity into cash, and you pay it back. You leave the house. Most people use the money to pay off their existing mortgage or pay some bills, cover medical costs, even update their home. And, just as importantly, still own your home. You make no monthly mortgage payments. It's a loan designed just for older Americans, and it's helped hundreds of thousands to live a more stable, secure retirement and stay in the home they love.
AAG is the leader in reverse mortgages. Call us today for your free information kit. It will answer all your questions and help you decide if a reverse mortgage is right for you and how to qualify.
I know what you're thinking. I did too. I felt the same way. But I checked it out, and I found out a lot more. It's pretty simple. Reverse mortgage from AAG give you